We were speaking yesterday how a person has to make sure to have clear what is good and what is bad, and not to get it twisted. As it says by Ben Sora and Moreh, in Pesach Sanhedrin, the Parsha tells us in Parsha Kitetse that there will be the rebellious and wayward son. And we know that he goes and he steals from his mother and father some money, he buys meat and wine, he does this 2-3 times, he gets warned, he still doesn't listen, he ends up getting killed. He gets killed even though he didn't do something that's so severe. He didn't kill anybody yet, but the Gemara says that he's killed Hashem Sofo. He's killed on this, that we know he's going to head it towards that way. He's stealing now from his family, he'll end up stealing from others, and one who steals usually ends up also killing. He's willing to kill for to steal. So therefore Gemara says, it's better he should die meritorious, and he should not die guilty of doing worse sins. So now, what's this concept? This concept is that even though there's a concept of teshuvah, what about the Ben Sor's teshuvah? Why don't we let him do teshuvah? So that's what the Yanuka Rav was saying, and that's what the Chazal tell us, that the sages say such a person knows of teshuvah. He knows this exists. He was warned by Beit Din. He was warned by his father and mother. And that's what the Pasuk says. Eneno shomea bekolenu. He doesn't hear our voice. He doesn't hear our voice. He knows what is good, and we're trying to tell him what is good, and he still shuns it away. And he says what he does is better. And what he says, what he does, he believes is okay. So therefore, that's why he says, the Gemara quotes the Gemara Sechet Yuma. It says, Omer hachtav ve'ashuv en maspikim yadot teshuvah. Most people, a lot of people, they say, most people that sin, they say, oh, I'll just do teshuvah later. What does Chazal say? A person who says, I'll do teshuvah later. A person says, I'll sin and I'll do teshuvah later. And maspikin meyado. You're not, Hashem doesn't allow it. From Shamayim, they block it that you're not able to do the teshuvah. You have an intention to do teshuvah now. After the sin, Hashem will make it that, I don't need to do teshuvah. You forget about teshuvah. You're not in the mood to do teshuvah. You had to change your heart. And maspikin meyado. They don't allow him from Shamayim to do teshuvah. Because Hashem doesn't let us use his tool of chesed, of teshuvah, to be able to change it, to go and use it against him, to go and do sins, to justify why you're doing sins, because I'll just do teshuvah later. So therefore, the same thing with this Ben Sore Moreh. He knows about teshuvah. He wants to abuse it. He wants to blur the lines. He wants to say, no, it's okay, I don't need to do that. And he go, yeah, I'll do teshuvah when I'm older. Such a person, his teshuvah and maspikin biyado. He won't be able to do teshuvah, and that's why he goes and he has to get killed before he does worse sins. And a person has to learn from this, that sometimes we can be the same way. A person can be a chacham, a sage. It can be a mentor. It can be your parents. It can be your wife. It could be your coworker. He comes and tells you, listen, I think you need to work on this. I think you need to work on that. You say, no, what are you talking about? Listen, it's your fault. It's not my fault. It's their fault. He plays the blame game. He goes into defense mode, and he doesn't want to hear anything about himself doing something wrong, and he's not able to hear his constructive criticism. Yes, we are sensitive, but we have to be for the sake of teshuvah, for the sake of becoming a better person. If the person is truly trying to help us and truly trying to wake us up to do teshuvah, the person has to be willing to accept it. The one who goes and shuns it away is a sign of Ben Sore Moreh. This is a sign of shunning away. Person trying to give you constructive criticism and you can't handle it because you want to stay in your ways. That is a very dangerous mentality, and that's where you're blurring the lines. You're calling Chas v'Shalom. You could come to a point where you think bad is good and good is bad. And we know that the main way to accomplish listening to what's right and be able to do teshuvah and hearing your criticism and not taking it personal is shmiat chachamim, emunat chachamim. And he says a person has to attach himself to hear the words of the sages and to listen and to get your mentality and how your viewpoint, your hashkafa. A lot of times people have to work on their way, their outlook on the world. Person, especially in the matter that's going on in Israel right now, people are saying, yeah, let's go, let's take pitchforks, let's go and start, fighting with our own hands, let's go, we have to bomb this, bomb that, we have to go and, destroy their leader, get rid of, dismantle them, whatever it is, right? And they don't realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have Syria, Lebanon, doesn't have Egypt, doesn't have other countries that can attack. There wasn't Hamas leaders before, there's going to be another Hamas leader, Chas v'Shalom, if Hashem wants. There's many enemies that the Jewish people have that can rise up, right? And for what? What are we supposed to take from this? We're supposed to take from this that it's not about necessarily taking matters into your own hands. Taking matters in your own hands not in a physical way, maybe in a spiritual way. A person has to take upon himself mitzvot. He has to go and give tzedakah. He has to go and donate supplies maybe. A person can do other ways besides for taking his rage and going to the streets and screaming and yelling. A person has to know, he has to listen to the chachamim. What would the chachamim ask this rabbi? What am I supposed to do with all my emotions? How am I supposed to handle all this rage? What can I do? I want to do something. What can I do? And therefore, that's when a person is going to be able to find the real good and attached to the real Hashkafa of the Torah, the real outlook of the Torah, but a person just does what he wants, what he thinks is right. Could be he'll be completely off the mark, and could be he'll do worse. He'll do more bad than good. He thinks by taking pitchforks and running in the street, he'll be better, and actually he's making Halil Hashem, and actually he's going to make inciting the other side to do more and retaliate. He'll be back fighting fire with fire. So therefore, a person has to make sure to do emunat chachamim, to have emunat chachamim, faith in the stages, have da'at Torah, have a Rav who asks halachotu, have a Rav who asks, is this legit, is this not, is this the right way to react, is it not, how do I do, what do I do, I have all these emotions, how do I handle them? This is what a person is supposed to do, because if not, then the other opposite is going to lead you to become Ama'aretz. What's Ama'aretz? Ama'aretz is ignoramus. Ama'aretz literally means nation of the land. He thinks like this world is the only world. There's no olam haba, there's no world to come. He thinks in a very physical, superficial manner. And therefore, a person wants to avoid having Ama'aretz mentality. The mentality of Ben Soreh Moreh, he says, money talks. He says, we got to destroy them. It's the enemy. He blames this person. As the Gemara Sanhedrin says, the end of days, and Masechet Sotah, it says, the end of days, the people will be like the generation of the dog. What's the generation of the dog? He bites a stick, thinking the stick is what's hitting him. And he doesn't realize that someone's holding the stick. All these things that are happening to us are tools Hashem's using to wake us up spiritually. And if you make the mistake, and you think we have to fight, and we have to blow up, and we have to go and run in the streets and scream and yell, then you're mistaken, because that's how Ama'aretz thinks. That's how ignoramus thinks. The person who has Adat Torah, Emunat Chachamim, he realizes that the sages are telling me this is a wake-up call. The sages are telling me this is all from Hashem. And if Hashem wants us to go away, He'll go away if we have the merit. If He doesn't want to go away, we'll blow these people up, and Chas v'shalom there'll be somebody else if we didn't get the message. So therefore, that's why he says the person has to make sure not to fall into the trap of being Ama'aretz, not to fall into the trap of being born Soreh Moreh. He should go and stick to the Chachamim, because if not, Chas v'shalom, he can make a dire mistake. He thinks he's doing good. He's end up doing bad. We should also to do a little good and have